So, Senate, a couple of the issues that's going on, which is, Arizona's border crisis, the amount of people that are coming through on a daily basis. You talked about the cartel earlier. I do want to address the cartel issue. Cartels are significantly profiting from the illegal border crisis. The migrant smuggling economy.
Who wrote that, by the way? Significantly profiting.
Washington Times. Okay, so economy.
We're making a killing on it.
Yeah, at the U.S.-Mexico border tops $20 billion, and the cartels have made at least $2.6 billion in profits over the past 12 months. Just from controlling the routes illegal immigrants use. And on top of that, last year, the Department of Homeland Security estimated that cartels are earning up to $6 billion a year just from human smuggling operation. This is not like a website saying $6 billion a year. This is from Homeland Security. So what are some strategies you're going to have to make sure you protect that, specifically in the state of Arizona?
Well, I talked about my border plan as governor, and that I think every governor should take it. It's out there on the internet. It's called Defend Arizona, but you could easily say Defend Texas, Defend California. That's never going to happen with Newsom. Defend New Mexico. We need strong border governors to do right by the people of this country. That's why people were rooting for me across the country. They said, finally, one governor is going to do something about it. So we really need the governors to step up right now until we can get some, quality individuals put into Congress. And we do have some, by the way. I don't want to say everybody in D.C. is rotten. We're getting some great fighters in there. But I think we need to immediately get President Trump's border plan back. As a journalist, I covered Arizona for 27 years. I'd never seen that border more secure than under President Trump. I mean, he found a way, and he had to do this, mind you, really with one arm tied behind his back, with his own party, people who had an R behind their name, attacking him. They would not let him build the wall. They were fighting. He had to get very creative to get the funding for the 500 plus miles of wall he put up. And I've been to the wall. It works. Now, Joe Biden has opened it up and welded it into an open position. I saw that. And tens of thousands of people are pouring across every week in Arizona. And the drugs are pouring through. And we actually have cartel members crossing the border armed, and they know they own the border. The cartels own the border. They own our state right now. So it's really easy. We just need to get Trump's policies back in at a federal level. And if Joe Biden wants to call them the Biden border plan, I don't care what he calls it. I'm sure Trump doesn't care. Just do it to save our country.
And Kari, I have a really quick question. So I know Vivek yesterday or the day before it was on his Twitter, Rob. He was, out there campaigning. He walked into a coffee shop and a lady asked, "What would you do, about the border?" And Vivek said, as the commander in chief, you have the right. You don't have to ask for permission to put our military.
Right.
And mind you, I'm a veteran. Patrick's a veteran. We have people that are just. There's no active crazy wars going on right now. We have soldiers that are literally just waiting around and whatever. Why not use that to protect our border instead of protecting, other people's borders around the country? Would you be able to have that as senator, to have that type of authority to put people on the border?
My actual border plan as governor was going to be to put the National Guard down there.
Good.
And we have men and frankly women, but men would come up to me all the time and say, I fought for my country. If I just got the call to go protect my country right now, I would be there in 20 minutes. I would be heading to the border to protect my country. Men and women in this country want our border protected. We don't have a country without a border, and we're sending our sons overseas to fight wars because there's trillions of dollars in these endless wars. That's why, frankly, I believe that's really why two reasons why they want to bring Trump down. He's not going to start it. He didn't start any wars. He resisted starting wars. There's trillions of dollars in endless wars with the military-industrial complex that JFK warned us about. I believe it was Eisenhower warned us about.
Eisenhower.
On his farewell speech. So there's a lot of money in that. Anybody that speaks up against them ends up gone or destroyed. So you're right, I might end up destroyed. But the other thing is, I don't want to see our sons and daughters fighting these wars overseas when our own country needs help.
I believe some of the stuff you say is a complete winning message. I think you have great messaging. I've told you what I thought doesn't necessarily win. Here's my question to you. I think you're a great surrogate for Trump. I think you have a lot of Kellyanne Conway moxie for sure in you. If you were going to be the VP, I think if you look at the polling, I look at Vegas polls. I don't trust Quinnipiac, Pew, none of it. I look at Vegas polls because that's where the money is. You're in the top three in a lot of the list.
Vegas polls said that I was going to win in a landslide.
Well, sometimes Vegas loses, then they have to pay. But the point is, you're at the top of this list. put on your hypothetical, take off the mama bear hat and put on the VP hat. You're going to be in the Oval Office with President Trump. You've already said you think he's the greatest president of all time. You're in the office. You've had the Mike Pences of the world, the Bill Barrs of the world, the General Kellys, people that have been insulated in his circle that have disagreed with him, and they are, for whatever reason, are not so much in the inner circle, if you know what I mean. Let's say there's a scenario where you totally disagree with President Trump, and you don't advocate for what he's advocating, but you need to remain loyal in order to kind of keep your position there. How would you handle that nuance? Like, give me some insight to how Vice President Kari Lake would have that difficult conversation with President Trump if you actually disagree with him on something.
Well, first of all, when President Trump says he appreciates loyalty, he doesn't mean loyalty, but you never ever speak against what I want. That's not what loyalty means. Loyalty means, he's done a lot for a lot of people. And I will tell you, I understand loyalty. When someone stabs you in the back, you want the people around you that you can trust them. Not that you trust them, you bring them in, and then they turn around and walk out the door and stab you in the back. It's really difficult to have. Then who do you trust if everyone's doing that? So when he says he likes loyalty, he doesn't mean loyalty, but you have to, say everything I say is right. I don't agree with everything the president's done. I agree with very much of it. I think his policies have been exceptional. Sometimes his tone is different than what I would use, but I appreciate that. I like that he's brash, and I think sometimes we need a shaking to wake us up, and we needed that with Trump, just like with Reagan. We needed a calm, cool optimism and a return toward patriotism and love for country. We need, with Trump, someone to shake us out of our slumber because we got really lazy and thought our country was on cruise control, and we found out it was, but it was going off a cliff. I've disagreed with him on things before. We talk all the time. I just talked to him the other day. I talked to him 2 days ago. We had a long conversation, and I didn't agree with everything he said, and we kind of went back and forth on something, and it was fun.
How did you approach that? You said, Mr. President, here's how I see things differently. Like,
well,
not that I need the actual conversation, but like the tone, the tenure. Like, how do you say, well, hey,
I am now. And you know what? He's a big boy. He can handle it. He wants the truth. I've never seen anybody like him. And I've talked to people who worked in the White House with him, and when there was an issue, a problem, he would bring a whole group of people in and say, okay, everybody, I want your opinion. What do you think we should do, Tom? How should we handle this? Did I get it right? Yes, Tom. Adam, what are your thoughts on this? Patrick, how do you feel? Vincent, what are your thoughts? And then he would make his decision. What the media has said about him is such a lie. It's been an 8-year slander and smear campaign on one man. We've never seen anything like this in politics. So when I do approach people and they tell me they don't like Trump, I usually have a conversation with them, and I find out they've just been believing the media stories.
I actually fully believe that the media has done Trump dirty, no doubt. This is the chicken or the egg thing, fake news. You being a part of the media, you have a very unique insight on this. Why do you think it'll be any different this time around if Trump is the president, knowing what you know about the media?
Well, I think when we get President Trump in office, the people, it is going to be just so obvious that people are with him. And in the last, since really COVID and the 2020 election, I will never forget being on set that night, reading the election results, and a producer getting in my ear, by the way, and say, Brett Baird just called the election for Biden in Arizona. But this time around, the people don't, because of all of that nonsense, the people have turned on the fake news media. And so they don't have it. They don't have the power they once had. And when they're trying to tear Trump down this next go around, it's not going to work. It's going to fall on deaf ears, because it'll fall on no ears. Not deaf ears, no ears will be listening. And I also believe the press pool at the White House will be comprised of a lot of the alternative media. I mean, maybe Valuetainment will have a reporter representing what's happening at the White House so that the people get the truth. Maybe we'll see, the Gateway Pundit have a seat at the table, and journalists who really want to put out the truth. And I just really think this next term of President Trump is going to be so historic. It's going to be a very quick, I don't even know the word, whiplash is maybe the best word, of turning it around. And I think we can do so quickly. I have great faith and hope that our country is going to turn around, but we have to get President Trump in there for that to happen.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.